welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs. From the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game. Just tell me, I don't know, a good leopard story.
I don't know what leopard you want to hear about.
I don't know, you've had a whole bunch. You've had them your entire life, haven't you?
Pretty much. Dad bought his first, or got his first one for, I think, for $10.
What year was that?
I think around 78, 79.
How old were you?
About 5, I guess.
So pretty much your whole life.
I was born in 72. Those were the first ones I played with. They were white.
White?
Yeah, they were white. They weren't registered.
That's not good.
They I guess there was a old guy from Nashville, Illinois, Gus Katowski. He had a dog by the name of Stanowski's Ben, and I think he was directly out of Shiner, but I'm not real sure.
It's funny, like we're at the leopard hunt down here in the Blue Ridge section, the Leopard Cur hunt, and we've been talking a lot of history yesterday and today, and it's funny because a lot of these names you guys talk about from the 60s and 70s, if they're not the big guys that, had leopards for 40 years and had big kennels, like I just don't know,
You probably never heard of Stanowski's Ben.
No.
But you heard of Shiner.
I have.
And he was considered Shiner bred.
Okay.
And I think he was out of Shiner, but I really don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And he Gus would be able to sell all the pups except for the ones with white because he couldn't register them if they had too much. But I think at that time they could be 2/3 white.
Yeah. It flip-flopped between a third to 2/3 to I think a third, something like that.
And then he would get them running and treeing, and I mean nowadays it don't seem like a lot of money, but my mom and dad didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, and he'd buy them pups for $10 and turn around and get them running and treeing and sell them for $150. And at the time that was a lot of money to him.
Yeah. And in today's world, you can't even buy a puppy for that half time.
No. And today's world is not messing with a puppy for that anymore. You got that much in shots and feed and everything else by the time you do it.
Definitely.
But I guess the first good female that he bought was from Gus Katowski, and her name was Mindy. And I'm not sure what time frame it'd be. I'd say the early 80s. Because he did that with them pups for a while, and before he actually bought one, and he had plots back then, and
so your dad liked off-colored dogs to begin with?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he started out with plots. He bought his first plot from Dale Brandenberger.
Okay.
And he was 17 years old, already married, and I think my sister was probably either there, ready, or on the way. I'm not real sure. And I remember the dog. The dog's name was Rowdy. Wasn't worth a darn, other than being a pet. But that was probably because me and my sister played with it all the time. And a nice big dog. And I've heard him tell the story more than once, though. He had to make payments to buy the dog for, I think it was $150 for the puppy. And which at that time he didn't have $150. And he had to make payments. And he said Dale Brandenberger didn't know him from Adam or anything about him, and was willing to take credit,
Well, that's back in the day when a man's word was worth something.
Yeah.
Handshake deals were commonplace.
And he did that. He hunted dogs for Dale Brandenberger. Then Dale would get I remember that. He would get same thing that we do now. We sell pups, and if they don't turn out for that person, we try to buy them back and try to give them another chance or put them in somebody's hands. Because a lot of times they just don't get hunted.
Oh, yeah.
And so he did that for Dale for a while, but he always said that when he was hunting the plots, he had to have 2 dogs, one to tree, one to run track, because he couldn't ever get one that was
do it all
and really good. And then Mindy, I guess he got her in the early 80s, and he bought her from Gus Katowski, and I guess she was the first dog that he actually had.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
That's what really made him switch, huh?
That's what made him switch.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, we didn't do that
No,
yet?
we didn't do that yet.
Oh, Bill Baster. Some people know me, some people don't.
And who else do we have over here?
Caden Baster.
You act like this is hard.
Eh.
And your dad is Dean.
Yes.
So you guys have been involved in leopards, like you said, for a long time.
I think he started going to the Leopard World Hunt in 85 or 86 because he bought a female from Ron Gannis, Art Valley Queen, but she came from Gary Sparks and originally came from Billy Williams.
Okay.
She was, if I had her papers in front of me, I could tell you who she was out of, but she was out of, I wanted to say she was out of Matt Dillon, but that doesn't seem correct, though. I'm not real sure, so I guess I probably shouldn't have said, but
Okay.
we still got her papers, though. I could look.
That's cool.
So the funny thing about her papers was there's dogs on her papers that they didn't even know who they were.
Yeah.
So it's just left blank.
Yep. A lot of unknown.
And that's why over the years, whenever people start spouting about, what them dogs don't look right or they got too much hound in them, well, that's probably what them dogs were that were blank on them pedigrees years ago. Is especially the Midwest dogs.
Yeah.
They probably were hounds.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
that's all good. That
breed,
could come back.
The breed as a whole is not very old. Like as far as a registered, traced breed. That's what a lot of people they don't realize is, would Richard start the registry the early 60s, I believe?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not
So,
real sure.
Early 60s to now is not that long. There's people that have bred tight and, breed generations pretty close, but at the same point, you got people that still have semen from dogs 20, 30 years ago. So, and those dogs, heck, probably 5, 6 generations back, you're back to foundation stock. So, it's really not that far back.
No, it could easily pop up on certain things, especially if the genes line up the right way.
Yeah.
So, I guess the one that irritated me the most was when people would say stuff about Archie Reardon's Ebo dog.
Okay.
I've heard over the years about how he had to be half English. Well, I'm pretty sure he had the correct pedigree and where he come from. A dog that Bob Waters had by the name of Spuds. He was up pretty close in Ebo's pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where exactly he was, but he wasn't that far back. But I knew of dogs that my dad had seen that looked like an English that came out of Spuds.
Okay. I've heard that before, so.
So stuff like that popping up, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Well, there's a few lines that I've seen Walker-looking dogs, and I'm not saying the people that bred them were wrong. They're heavy line bred on a certain line of dogs, and all of a sudden this Walker-looking dog pops out, and it's like, it's somewhere back there.
Yeah.
And you line breed on it.
Well, I think the biggest problem that the ALBA had with a lot of people is they spout the jealousy thing, but I think it's mostly a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Than it is people being jealous. And then they take it the wrong way when somebody says something about it. It's just my opinion, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were the president for how long?
I guess 2 years.
Okay, I thought it was longer than that.
No, I've been involved since I was probably. Well, I was involved. I wasn't really involved when Dad was involved when I was younger. I just went along and hunted a dog for him, and I let him and his buddies were in the politics. I kind of stayed out of it.
Okay.
And then I started hauling mail, and I quit for about 8 years. And then I started up again, I don't know, I guess my late 20s with a dog by the name of Double Tug that Dad gave me.
Okay.
Dad owned him with Rex Laker.
I've seen him in quite a few pedigrees and looking back on stuff.
Well, Dad owned him with Rex Laker, and then he gave me his half, so then I owned him with Rex Laker. But and Rex will even tell you that his ownership was mostly wanting to use him if he wanted to breed him.
Yeah.
And he knew I couldn't part with the dog very long, so he wouldn't keep him very long either. And,
well, tell me a little bit about him then.
Well, he wasn't really a flashy coon dog, but he was honest, and you cut him loose, and he was a lot like Smoke that we hunt now. You cut him loose, and he was going to get treed. He had one good asset about him was you cut him loose, and if coon weren't moving, he'd swing out about 400 or 500 yards, and he would check back in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't want to keep hunting, you better catch him.
Okay.
Because he was going to be under a tree then somewhere.
Yeah. So then he'd get going.
Yeah. And back then we didn't.
Hang on, we can stop. Let's go back to. Tell me more about double tug.
Well, I could tell whatever he was doing, and he would have been a good one for me if UKC would have brought the Leopards in as hounds
Mm-hmm.
when I had him, because I think I could have did some real winning with him.
Okay.
And he he kind of had a little bit of a jealousy streak when it came to. I mean, he loved hunting with other dogs,
Mm-hmm.
but he couldn't let them get first tree. And he was a really good pup trainer because he would actually come back and get them.
That's not normal to be that competitive and a good pup trainer.
Well, that's kind of what made him good as competitive, though, is because if another dog got, because he was a good pup trainer until that pup got better than him on the tree. If they got first tree on him, he was done hunting with them.
Okay.
After that, he was,
Mm-hmm.
on his own, and he was the same way with a full grown hound.
Gotcha.
And he would, if he actually hunted with other dogs, I mean, he was not the fastest.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to hunt him with Smoke, there's no comparison on track speed. Smoke would beat him to the tree, every
Okay.
time. And but he could tree more coons than Smoke.
Gotcha.
And
Smoke's the dog you got now hunting, right?
yes,
And he is qualified for the Tournament of Champions, isn't he?
yes,
That's what I thought.
that's where Logan will be taking him next month.
Yep. And actually, he's got two half siblings.
Both of them are qualified.
Yeah.
Well, one of them is a full Bacon and Smoker litter
Okay.
mates.
And then Havoc's a half brother.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So Lucky Luke's putting his mark on the leopard breed, even in the grave.
He is in on those three. I wish there was a really nice female in Jason Wilson owned her down in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't hunt like the males did though. She actually hunted more like I liked.
Mm-hmm.
She hunted around you and with you and along with you, and she got treed quick.
Yeah.
And
I know he really liked her.
yeah, she was a nice dog. I only hunted with her one time,
I talked to him about her, and he was pretty high on that dog. He really liked her.
and I think she died from milk fever or something.
After she
pups.
raised some pups, I know
Yeah.
she died. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
But as far as I know, she was really the only female that turned out.
Mhm.
There were some other ones that made mediocre dogs.
Yeah.
But not really good dogs like those four did.
Okay.
And it could be that they just didn't get hunted enough too. But I know of one that I think got hunted pretty hard, and she didn't. She would run in tree,
Mhm.
but she was never nothing special.
Gotcha.
And
Can't if a male dog can at least produce dogs that'll run in tree. I mean, you can't throw the next superstar for every puppy can't be the next superstar.
I know. It's well, don't you get on the internet?
Yeah,
It seems like everybody's got superstars at every kennel.
sure. Everyone thinks I do because I can just take a good picture. No, they're not superstars. I just can take a good picture.
I can tell you, I don't have a whole lot. I mean, we don't produce according to what I read, anyways. We don't produce the percentages that everybody else does.
Oh, okay.
We have a lot of calls. Either that or they just don't meet my standards.
Mm-hmm.
Could be that everybody else has got lower standards.
That's very possible. But let's talk some history because, like I said, you've been involved with these leopard dogs for a long time. So we were just talking a little bit outside about the first world hunt.
I don't know when the first world hunt was. It was. I know it was probably. Well, they had some hunts, some get-togethers that Richard Brooks would tell me about. And he, like I told you, he'd be a good one for you to talk to. They had them down in southern Missouri. I'm not exactly sure. If somebody told me the name, I'd remember it. But Richard tells me the story about how, because he's a painter.
Okay.
He he would paint portraits of people's dogs for them. So
Wow.
he'd paint all day. Yeah, I've got a really nice painting that he made me of like an old style cabin, like a country store,
Yeah.
where everybody gathered around selling hides, and I mean it's a beautiful painting that he made me. And well, I don't know if he made it for me, but he sold it or he didn't sell it to me. He gave it to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But he said he'd paint all day and hunt all night. He said he never got no sleep the whole time they'd be there. And
That's awesome.
then at some point, they started the world hunt at the Tebow section at Clinton, Missouri. And that was at Melvin Childers, and that's where Dad started going.
Okay.
And they had the AO. Well, actually, I guess originally it was the ACBA, which that's who the Blue Ridge still recognizes as the ACBA.
Yeah.
And
which is American Cur Breeders Association, which is what Richard McDuffie first started.
And well, I guess when Billy Williams bought the registry from him, would be my guess, is probably why they started the world hunt there in Clinton.
Okay.
But I actually never met Billy Williams because he never came to any of the world hunts when I was a kid growing up and coming to them. It was a lot of different guys back then. Red Martin and Steve Ingram would come in from Ohio. One year, a guy, I think he was from Ohio too. His name was Art Thomas or something like that. And he came in and he had a strip bar and brought his strippers with him. Kept them in the van. They came inside the shed there, and where Melvin had it, and Melvin made him take them back out to the van. So
getting a little wild.
They had some pretty interesting things going on years ago too.
That's funny. Never heard any of those stories.
I hunted with his boy that night, and he's packing a nice dog. He had a nice leopard dog. I don't remember the breeding on it anymore, but I'd say probably the nicest leopard dogs that I hunted with out there, though, were probably Verl Keeters. Verl Keeter had a dog by the name of Jack.
Okay.
And Jack I hunted with him, I think, 3 times. Let's see.
Trouble just walked in the door. We're going to get him on here, too.
Who is it? Oh, my gosh. Well, he had a handler. Bill, I can't think of what his last name. Bill London was his name, and Bill was an extremely nice guy. And I think I hunted with him 2 or 3 times with the Jack dog. And I'll honestly tell you, I never won. That Jack was a nice dog.
Okay.
And I actually would have liked. I've called a few different people that are in that area where Verl Keeter was from, and I'm told that all those dogs have disappeared now.
It's a shame. Leopards used to be so widespread, and
there was a lot of dogs in Oklahoma, and when we were down at what the hunt that Bob, I'm terrible with names. I don't know if you figured that out yet, but until I think about it, but I'm terrible with names. But they put on the Leopard Bowl. Yeah, Bob's probably going to listen to this and think that we're good buddies, and I forgot his name. But they put on the Leopard Bowl, and we were down there, the different ones that came. They'd put it on at Tahlequah.
Okay.
And different ones that came in, I asked, there were some of them that came in that knew Verl.
Yeah.
But nobody knew where any of the dogs were anymore, and they said they all disappeared. And I talked to a guy called me looking for a dog, and he was Verl's neighbor. And I said, you're in the area that had some of the best leopards that I'd been to the woods with.
Yeah.
And he said that they just basically said they can't be found no more.
Because, like you said, you talk about these old dogs, and then you occasionally see an old picture, an old pedigree, and it's like, in dogs today, you don't see hardly any of that stuff. It's like these multiple lines just dried up and never got perpetuated. So it's just a shame to see.
The speed dog that Rex Laker had, he produced some of the nicest dogs at the time. And there was a time where the world hunt, the final 4, was dominated by dogs that was out of speed.
Okay.
And today, most of those, other than going directly through our line,
Yeah.
I mean, and at that time there was a lot of dogs that were that way, but people go in different directions, and
Well, most of the Midwest stuff is from you guys, or
a good
or
a good portion of
very concentrated with the group that you've kind of bred with.
that most of it is concentrated between the dogs that Dad did with Jerry Davidson, Rex Laker, and Tyree Crane.
Okay.
And Mark Dresty got his start directly from Dad.
Okay.
And he bred, I guess Bob Waters' Spud's dog would be in there because Mark bred the Spuds.
Gotcha.
And that's where the Eli come from. And then he bred Eli to an Oakall Valley River bred female that he got from Tim Michaels.
Gotcha.
And that he called Mocha. And Mocha was she could tree a coon, but she wasn't necessarily, she was kind of like what you'd say the mediocre dogs. But the dogs that came out of that cross between Eli, you got Whiskey, and you got Samson, which is the Paul Rozonki had up that he got from Mark.
Okay.
And that's where them dogs would come down through. That's where Lucky Luke come from. And so, to me, those are the best dogs in the leopard breed right now as far as getting gone and getting a coon treed.
Well, you guys are proving it with having 3 Lucky Luke puppies qualified for the Tournament of Champions. I think there's, 7 leopards?
Something like that.
Like I said, 3 of them were Lucky Luke pups, so.
Most people don't. It's still the way, though, that most people aren't into the competition stuff.
Yeah.
But even the ones that say they're not, I've found that they look at that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I follow it all. I'm not a big competition hunter, but I follow it and see who's.
Well, I don't know how many. Smoke has definitely helped trying to put pups in hunters' hands. Without Smoke, I'd say we probably wouldn't be breeding as many females because it wouldn't be as easy to get them in hunters' hands.
Yeah.
And even the ones that pleasure hunt, they'll tell me they don't competition hunt, but that's, and I'm like, well, then you probably should get a pup out of Blue. And they won't want one out of Blue, they want one out of Smoke.
Yeah.
But Smoke's in the limelight right now.
Yep.
People want that.
Definitely.
I'll try my best to get them. Hopefully they turn out. But
how many females have you bred with Smoke?
I don't know how many has it been, Caden. You're not saying anything. You're the one that's supposed to be correcting me when I get off track.
I think there's been 3 litters, right? I
Wait.
think 3 litters, but only 2 different females, right?
Yeah, we bred a female yesterday, Jason Abbott. Should have some pups in a couple months.
Cool. And that'll be a little bit different cross than,
well, yeah, because he's got Jug in his pedigree, so that'll be putting some.
Yeah.
A little bit different. It won't be all Midwest bred. And we're planning to breed a female from Richard Johnson to him, so it'll be a.
Speaking of Richard Johnson,
he's a shy boy.
Richard, come here. We're gonna pull Richard Johnson in here.
Richard's been my buddy for a long time. He's probably gonna be mad that now people know it.
No, I ain't mad.
There you go. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Put Chad on here too. Just put it on speaker.
No, he didn't talk.
We're talking leopard dogs, Richard. Figured, right?
Yeah.
Now we're just talking about how Bill's gonna cross female from you, Smoke, and let's talk about kind of what you got going on with your dogs too.
I'm looking forward to the cross. I bred mine so much for bear and everything, it probably had a little bit more of the coon dog blood into him.
I'm not hunting with him once he gets that because he's got a female pup out of Smoking. I'm not going to his house because I like to come and hunt with Richard.
Yeah.
I try to every couple of years.
But
he gets that pup going and she hunts like Smoke. I'm not going.
Oh, come on.
What he don't understand is when he's not there, I'll be driving the side by side within 100 yards of it.
But you walk hunt when he comes.
Yeah,
huh?
I like to get him out there and show him East Tennessee rights,
She's going to be treed in the Smoky Mountains National Forest, and he's going to be telling me about how we can't go in there, but just stay tight in the truck, and if the game warden shows up, it'll be okay. And he don't know nothing.
But you've kind of got we were talking last night because we rode out to the woods together. You kind of have crossed a couple different lines
Well, yeah.
together.
Yeah, I got in these leopards years ago. Actually, I told you last night, just buying one from $10 on the lake above my house.
$10. That seems to be a
Yeah.
common amount back.
Yeah. Only bad thing, I was supposed to get papers and never did. So my first leopard was a grade dog, but I took the old stuff that I'd bred so many years and bred over Mike Toe's stuff and L.D. Myers.
Is that what Lily mostly is Mike told?
Well, let's see. Well, you caught me on the spot. I have to think what Lily's out of. She's out of Cheyenne and my old stock. So, yeah, she ain't got none.
Cheyenne is a cross of Mike.
That's Mike's. That's full
Okay,
blood.
that was full Mike.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if Cheyenne was one of the pups out of.
And that's Lexi and Hammers. The
Okay.
was out of the Toth and the Scout dog.
Gotcha.
So it's not got any bone holler Scout except
Okay.
what Smoke puts in it.
Gotcha. He's kind of a little bit of a crossed up Midwest with some other stuff.
He's half Midwest, and then I've been telling people because a lot of his dogs went back far enough back. You go back to Rex Bauer's stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, Smoke is like super fast on track. So I've been giving Rex credit for that. I've been telling people that I think that's where it probably come from.
Mm-hmm.
And because growing up, that's all I heard. But how fast Rex Bauer's is bred dogs fast on track.
I've heard that, and actually, I did one of these with Wayne Hensley, and he bear hunts dogs that came from Rex, and that's kind of what he says is, his dogs can outrun some of the hounds that he hunts with.
I've never had a dog to catch 40, 50 coon on the ground like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he caught so many coon on the ground last year. It was a flaw when you're trying to competition hunt a dog.
Yeah.
Because your other cast members will not let you go into a direction that a dog's
not treeing
or not barking.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
We knew that he had it caught on the ground, and Logan kind of worked a little bit with him to get him calmed down, and he ended up getting coonhound paralysis, and I think that's what slowed him down the most. But he still probably caught 20 this year after recovering from that.
Well, good that you got him recovered. I've heard some bad things about that.
We've had over the years, we had one or two of them die from it.
Mm-hmm.
But he bounced back. We put him on prednisone and gave him vitamins, and he bounced back faster than anything I've ever seen.
That's great. So, well, it seems like Henry wants to start hollering, so I think we'll probably end up wrapping this thing up a little earlier than I normally like to, but
Well, that's good enough.
I appreciate you guys coming on here. Caden, thanks for all your input.
These are the legs. You got to have legs to go after a dog.
But you guys are going to an RQE tonight, so good luck.
Thank you.
So,
If it ain't snowing.
yeah.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talkin' Media. And until next time, keep 'em talking in the timber.